I thank the representative of Qatar, and I now call on the representative of Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My delegation takes the floor to exercise Indonesia's right of reply to the statement made by Vanuatu. Indonesia condemns the slander and baseless comments that the delegation of Vanuatu made in its statement this morning when referring to the Indonesian provinces of Papua and West Papua. These accusations are not only undermining the sanctity of friendly relation among nations and non-interference, but also violating the principle of the UN Charter. Mr. President, for many years, Vanuatu has tried to sell the following fraudulent ideas: that there are flagrant, systematic, and widespread human rights violations, negligence of civil, political, social, economic, and cultural rights, and that the people in these provinces are racially different and thus do not belong in Indonesia. This country argues that based on these factors injected into their minds by criminal individuals, that the two provinces have to be debated at the United Nations. We fail to understand the motive behind Vanuatu's intention in supporting a group of people who have struck terror and mayhem in so many occasions, creating fatalities and sadness to innocent families of their own communities. Indonesia categorically rejects any efforts to disturb peace, stability, and growth enjoyed by the people of Papua and West Papua, and would like to state the following points. First, accusing Indonesia of committing gross violation of human rights and inhuman acts is a serious and unacceptable accusation. No country in this world is free from human rights or development challenges. But accusing others of human rights violation, while one has so many problems of its own, is like calling the pot calling the kettle black. Vanuatu, which gave the portrayal of championing the human rights, is only party to a few of the international human rights instruments. Indonesia, on the other hand, is party to 8 out of the 9 instruments. Interestingly, Vanuatu has not ratified the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, while Indonesia has done so way back. Indonesia is a diverse and multicultural nation, comprising of more than hundreds of ethnic groups, thousands of tribes, and hundreds of local languages. We neither define ourselves on the basis of racial purity, nor are we a single ethnic group. We reject racial discrimination in Indonesia. Now, if we follow the irresponsible premise and logic of Vanuatu, then the world will consist of tens of thousands of countries, noting the multitude of race and ethnicity in the world. Now, just to remind Vanuatu that the customary international law deriving from the Montevideo Convention of 1933 on the rights and duties of state clearly stipulated 4 elements that define a country, namely, first, population; second, territory; thirdly, government; and fourthly, capacity to enter relation with other states. Never, I repeat, never has been stated that ethnic or race as an underlying reason for the right to be a country. Secondly, let me provide Vanuatu with a short lesson about our history. Almost 50 years ago, through this very same forum, on this very same room, with resolution coming from this very same august chamber, we, all of us in this United Nation, have decided the final status of Papua as rightful and legitimate part of Indonesia. The General Assembly Resolution 2504 of 1969, recognizing the successful implementation of the Act of Free Choice, was adopted with no single country voted against the said resolution. The people of Papua reaffirms their place and unity with Indonesia. In other words, what Vanuatu is propagating is nothing more than an outrageous challenge to the decision of the United Nations, the decision of the then 128 members of the United Nations almost half a century ago. Mr. President, Indonesia and every responsible member of the United Nations upholds the principle of its charter dearly. For that reason, Vanuatu's support to individuals with separatist agenda against Indonesia undeniably violates the principle of the UN Charter and thus must be denounced. Without shame, since last year, Vanuatu incorporated those individuals into their official members of its delegation. Such actions are tantamount to acts of hostility and have no place in the UN system. I repeat, no place. A country that supports separatists and dismemberment of any country should not sit in a gathering of law-abiding and decent family of nations. Enough is enough. We couldn't care less what the motives are, but we know for sure that Indonesia will firmly and strongly defend its sovereignty, its territorial integrity, and its dignity. Let that be known. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Indonesia, and I now call on the representative of Saudi Arabia.